Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was in London over the weekend for a meeting with European leaders. And the reception he got there from the UK Prime Minister and other heads of state was notably different than his meeting with Trump. Look at that hug. Look at this. Now, King Charles also invited the Ukrainian president to visit him at his country house, where the two allies stood for pictures, smiling by a roaring fire. All of that, a very big contrast to that Oval Office meeting that continues to produce shockwaves around the world. And in the U.S., Trump's own former national security advisor, H.R. McMaster, saying the meeting made Russian President Vladimir Putin very happy.
Vladimir Putin couldn't be happier, Scott, because what he sees is all of the pressure on Zelensky, all of the pressure on Ukraine, and no pressure on him.
He appeals to President Trump's sense of aggrievement. Right? That, Donald, like me, you've been treated so unfairly.
You seem to be saying that President Trump is being played.
He is being played.
Senator Amy Klobuchar is a Democrat out of Minnesota and a member of leadership for Senate Democrats. She was among the bipartisan group of senators that met with President Zelensky before the Oval Office meeting, and she joins us now. Hey, Senator Klobuchar, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. The fallout continues. I mean, you have today President Trump at the White House suggesting being very critical, insisting that a peace agreement to end the war with Russia shouldn't be that hard and that it's within reach. How is this playing with our allies and, frankly, the Republican members who were in the room with you at that meeting with Zelensky?
Well, the meeting was so positive, Simone. It wasn't fake positive. It was real, including with the Republican members and including with President Zelensky. He was ready to go over there. He wants peace. And, of course, his point at the meeting when he was berated by J.D. Vance was that Putin has violated these ceasefires and other agreements like the Minsk agreement over and over and over again, and that we needed to have a plan, including the European troops that the British and the French have pledged to enforce it. I was appalled by what happened. We have allies. And when you look at the economic situation right now with the tariffs that President Trump is talking about putting on our allies tomorrow, Canada, Mexico, and at the same time he's cozying up to Russia, this makes no sense at all. Who do you want as your friends? The countries that are 50% of the economy, that's us and Europe and South Korea and Japan? Or do you want to be with North Korea, Russia, Iran? That is that friend group over there. And when you look at the numbers, Russia has like 2-3% of the economy. And why would you abandon them? So, of course, at the same time, I want to help the Ukrainians. They have put themselves on the line. They've stopped Vladimir Putin from marching through their country right into Europe. And so whatever we can do to have a reset and to get the Republicans to quietly, because they won't stand up, put pressure on the Trump administration to get to the agreement that President Trump had wanted them to sign anyway, that's where we need to go to stand up with the Ukrainians instead of with Russia.
I would just note the minimal agreement that apparently does nothing for Ukraine, but hands over mining rights to American business companies. But I guess that's neither here nor there. The Wall Street Journal is reporting this evening that the United States is actually halting arms sales to Ukraine. What have you heard? Do you know about this?
I haven't heard that. And again, the Congress has appropriated money, right? That's what we do. We're Article 1. We're actually ahead of the president in the Constitution, and we did that. So it is one thing to have debates on the next budget, but what the Europeans and the Americans until now have been trying to do with Ukraine is to negotiate through our sanctions, through all of the things that are on the table, some kind of end to this war. And we certainly don't want to undermine President Zelensky, which is exactly what Vance did. And just so your viewers understand this, President Zelensky has thanked America over and over again. Vance was claiming he hadn't thanked anyone. Complete lie. He's thanked them in Congress. He's thanked them in public meetings, in private meetings. And the people of Ukraine are forever grateful to America. This is a solid ally. It's going to be an economic ally, and we need to stand with Ukraine.
The president's joint address to Congress is tomorrow. As I noted, you are a member of Senate leadership. That means you must go. But you are bringing the president of the Minnesota Farm Workers with you.
Yeah. The Farmers Union.
The
Yep.
Farmers Union. The last time that Donald Trump was in office, he dilly-dallied in the tariffs, if you will, that he's threatening again tomorrow, 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada. And the last time, it's my understanding, Congress had to bail out the farmers because they were so hurt by the tariffs. So what are the Minnesota farmers saying about these tariffs?
Well, they want fair trade, and they want to be able to sell their goods in the U.S. and abroad. And they don't want aid. That's not their preference, right? But instead, he's going to have to throw a bunch of money because he's doing these tariffs. And you look at a 25% tariff on Canada. That is Minnesota's biggest trading partner. There will be retaliatory tariffs coming right back at us. You're going to see the same with Mexico. And the estimates are this isn't just a tariff; it's a tax on families. That this was going to be over $1,200, with the newest ones even over $2,000 per year per family on average. And that is exactly, while we're at a time where you already see coffee up 16%, eggs sky high, depending where you are, $8, $9 a dozen, lumber prices going up, and now he's going to add to this. The people that voted for him that wanted a change, okay? They thought that he was actually going to lower costs and do something about housing and childcare and prescription drugs. He is actually doing the opposite. And that is tomorrow night, Democrats are united on holding him accountable for this. And the guests that we are bringing, a number of us, are going to make that point, that he is hurting average Americans. He is making things cost more for them, and he is cutting people like park rangers and cancer researchers and accidentally people who are guarding our nuclear stockpile. Then he tried to rehire them. All of that to find $2 trillion in tax cuts for the wealthiest people in our nation, for billionaires. That is our very straightforward message, and we are united on that.
Extremely straightforward. I will note for anyone that says, oh, Donald Trump might not do the tariffs, he said today there's no room left for talks. Senator Amy Klobuchar,
There he goes.
Appreciate your time. We will be watching
Thanks,
you tomorrow.
Simone.